Okay, so we are here for the next part of this video. I'm going to start on the tuners and just show you how that's going to go. I do have an inlay placed on here, but I'll get to that in a little bit, and you'll see why. So these, like I said, are the Sperzel Easy Mount version. They do have the locking nut on the back, which is what you want. That's definitely what Tom uses on all his Gibsons. That's what I have on his Les Paul over there. And it is in fact what he used on all of his custom shop Strats. So War Myth, where I bought the neck, does have the option to have these holes reamed specifically for Sperzels. They have a couple different options, but it's really nice that they just have the Sperzel option in there already. So you'll see that these will fit in really nice. And if you're not super familiar with Sperzels, the usual ones will have a couple holes right here, or actually I think just one hole. I believe it's Fender that has the two holes, or the two, not holes, but little pins. They call them like guide pins or mounting pins. And you'd have to pre-drill into the neck very carefully, and actually have a little jig that I've gotten from StuMac that looks like this, that has these holes that will line up ever so slightly, and you need just the right drill bit and all that, and it's really not ideal. I mean, this version has very tiny little teeth, I guess I could call them, right here, that will just kind of dig into the wood ever so slightly, and all you're really going to be doing is just lining it up, and then once you tighten it, it'll just kind of grip the wood so it's not moving around. And I haven't personally used these, but I see no reason why these would be any more inferior, or I don't see them being any worse than the regular ones. So I'm going to just put one right in the back of there. I'm not going to worry too much about lining it up perfect. I'll do that after. And then you have the washers, which there should be a shiny flat, or a less shiny flat side, and then a shinier side that has kind of a slight lip to the end, which you want to have the curved side up. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this. These might be staggering. I think these do stagger. Let's see. Yeah, so these do have different sizes too, so I'm going to have to double check the sizings on these, because they should come in 3 sets of 2 for sizes. So those look about the same. Those look different. Basically, you're going to want to start with the tallest ones up here and then get to the shorter ones down here to kind of create that break angle a little bit. And some people will use that so that you don't have to use a string tree. I'm still going to use a string tree, which I'll worry about after. But having this option is nice. Let's see here. This looks like it's probably with this one. Yeah, this one, yeah, those two are the same. So these are the tallest, these are in the middle, and these are the shortest. So you're going to want to start with the taller ones. These are going to be for the thicker strings anyway. And yeah, like I said, don't worry too much about lining it up perfect just yet, because you're not going to be going too tight on this just yet. And then this is the part that screws in. It's got a little thread inside there, and that is what connects to the actual tuner itself. So this is what it looks like without me screwing it in or anything. And like I said, I can still move this around a little bit to position it just right. So I'm going to leave that be. Continue on. It's not a huge deal if you don't put the washer in, you know, on the right side, but you know, it does have a slight difference to it. So yeah, I'm just hand tightening these, like I said, and I have a nut driver that I will finish off with them. I will be totally honest, Sperzels are not my go-to tuner. I've grown to really like fender locking tuners. They're probably my favorite. I've used them on many different builds, and what's nice about fender locking tuners is they retrofit to the non-locking versions. So they, like I said, they have that mounting pin, or those two mounting pins on the back, and those fit right into the same slots as you know, the regular ones, as long as, you know, you just have like your standard like Mexican or American tuners there. And the reason why I like the Fender tuners better is the gear ratio is a bit tighter, which means it takes more turns of this to get a full revolution, and with that you kind of get a better fine tuning adjustment. With this, you have it takes less turns for a Sperzel tuner to make a full revolution, which makes it a little more difficult to really fine tune your strings. And that's fine if you're using, say, like a Floyd Rose, or you know, something where you're going to have a locking nut, because at that point you could do the fine tune adjustments down at the bridge. But I mean, just for the sake of trying to get as close to what Tom would have used on his Strat, you know, that's just kind of why I go with the Sperzels. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in a previous video, but I did go with a 22 fret neck. Tom doesn't use 22 frets, but honestly, I'm really not worried about that extra fret. I could have custom ordered it from Warmouth without the 21st or without the 22nd fret, but it would have taken another like 6 weeks to get to me, and frankly, I just didn't want to wait all that time. I really felt like, you know, that extra fret wasn't gonna, you know, make or break the build. So I thought it was just gonna be, you know, an easy thing to do. So I went with that, and I don't regret it. Let me see. I believe it's the 5/8. Oh no, this is 1/2 inch. So let me see. No, that's too big. 7/16. Yeah, that's gonna be the one. So from here, I just want to kind of adjust this, try to get it straight. You know, I'm lining this first one up, you know, as straight as I can with the edge of the headstock, because you want it to just be flush and straight. And then from there, I'm just kind of lining up the rest with the first one. You could use a straight edge, like this here. Just kind of make sure everything's good, which definitely does work. Knocked that fourth one into place pretty well. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Another thing about these tuners that you may or may not know, they are fairly heavy tuners. If that's important to you, it might be something to consider, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. A lot of newer tuners or new tuner companies will offer like lightweight options, which is pretty cool, in case you're just trying to keep your build as light as possible. And I'm tightening these fairly tight, but you don't want to just crank them down. I mean, you could risk, you know, splitting the wood or something like that, or just creating a really big indent in the wood, you know, if you ever decided to swap the tuners or something like that. You know, you'd kind of have like an ugly indent in there, and you don't want that. So yeah, this is a nut driver. If you're not, you know, super familiar with that, you could use like a you know, a wrench, or like a socket wrench or something like that. But I always just like these. They're kind of like screwdrivers, but you know, for nuts. And I've used these on guitars for years, and I think not enough people use them. I think they're really cool. Alright. That should do it for the tuners. And you always want to make sure that the backs of these are fairly like locked. You don't want to lose this, because you could very easily just loosen this too much and, you know, they fall out or something, you know, when the strings aren't in. And that's definitely not something you want to do. So we're going to go on to the inlays for now. This I bought from an eBay seller called Creative Cuts. If you search Tom DeLonge inlays, you will find them on eBay. I actually have, you know, a whole bunch from here, and I got some more up here. And I did use them back in the day for my old black Strat with the white stripe. A lot of people gave me, or a lot of people left me questions about that back in the day, and they're very durable. You know, I used that guitar pretty heavily for like 2 years, and I never had an issue with them up until like the very last month or two that I had it. Just from like my overall use on the guitar, I think maybe it was the 9th fret or the 12th fret came up just a little bit, the inlay. And all it really is just a really nice heavy duty decal. It's like a vinyl, I believe it's vinyl decal, and it's made to look like the head is mother of pearl and the spikes are abalone, which is pretty neat. So what you want to do with this, you want to cut each one out carefully, which I did already for this one, and think of it kind of like a sandwich, where there's a top layer which you can still kind of see on here, then there's the inlay itself, and then there's the backing layer. Now what you do, I've had this on for a little while now, since I've been doing this whole video. I'm not sure how far into the video I am. Almost 14 minutes. So it comes with instructions, and all you really do is you peel off that back layer very carefully, because you want the inlay to still stick to the sticky layer, and then you want to carefully place it over the existing fret marker if you have one, and it says to leave it for about 10 minutes, and then all you have to do is just carefully peel away this top layer. So I'm going to do that one here just to show you, and it should stay on. There you go. So you want to press them pretty good. They're very, very sticky, so be careful with it. You know, if you accidentally drop it, you know, the adhesive could very well get compromised if it sticks to like your carpet or something. So that's the first one. You know, I don't expect it to look any better than that. You know, that's pretty solid. So I'm going to continue to do a couple more, and I do need to look into whether or not he went higher than the 12th fret on these. For some reason, I really believe that Tom's green Strat and his brown Strat only had these decals up until the 12th fret. And I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember seeing. So it was, you know, the faces up to the 12th fret, including the 12th fret, and then it was mother of pearl dots after that. But you know, I'm gonna have to double check. So we'll see. I'll at least do these first few. So like I said, very carefully peel the back off. And I peeled the ends, or I cut the ends off, just because it was overhanging on the fretboard a little bit, and I accidentally, you know, snagged it a couple times, and that could have led to some problems. So, okay, that came off good. Discard that. And I'm just gonna carefully try to line it up here. You want to press it down really good. Make sure there's no air bubbles or anything like that. You know, you could use a credit card or, you know, your fingernail or something to make sure you're getting off the, you know, any excess air bubbles in there. That should be good. Sometimes it's a little tricky to peel this off. Especially since I just clipped my fingernails this morning. Come on. Okay. Once again, just be careful that you're not, you know, being too quick on it, because you could catch the inlay. Once again, just checking for air bubbles. Looks good. Yeah, like I said, I definitely recommend these guys. They've been in business for a very long time, even on just eBay. I don't know if you could buy them directly from any other like direct store. I just know that they've had their stuff on eBay forever, since I'm always checking for like Tom DeLonge guitars and stuff like that. You know, they've always just advertised in that space, and they have tons of different options. You could get stars, you could probably get the triangles that he uses on the white guitar, his white Strat. You could probably do that. I never checked for that though. I know you can get the blink smiley faces, which are really cool. And I believe, you know, since the smiley face is kind of open in the middle, I believe they have like a black backing, so you don't see the dot or whatever is there before underneath it, which is really cool. The blink smiley faces are really nice. I don't know for sure, but it would be really cool if they did the fish like Mark has on his red bass. Those ones are really cool too. Just simple, super simple fish cutouts. And yeah, like I said, these are just gonna sit on here for about 10 minutes, and then I'll peel them off. And I mean, I played that black Strat a lot. You guys, if you've been around for a long time, you know how much I played that black Strat. And by the time I sold it, about 2 years after I put those on, I only had a very small piece of one of them just have like a slight tear in it, just from the amount of like vibrato and stuff I do. But if you don't do vibratos or big bends or anything like that, then it's probably not even going to be an issue for you at all. Oops, see, I was a little too quick on that one. You want it to stay on the top layer. Come on. It's not coming off, right? Just kind of giving it a little bit of encouragement to transfer onto that top section there. Because like I said, I mean, it's very important that you get it on that top layer. And then just try to line it up as carefully as you can. Because if I had just quickly ripped off that top layer and it still stayed on the blue, I don't know how easily I would have been able to get it back on there, because it would have been hard to line it back up close enough. Alright, so this is the last one I'm going to do for now. Same thing's happening. It's not sticking to the top. Alright, so once again, I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of encouragement. There we go. That was a bit better. And you can do like your fretboard polishing, or oiling your fretboard. And I haven't come across any reason to not do that. I mean, there was never any like discoloration on these, or on the other ones that I had when I was just oiling my fretboard or anything like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But if you're getting cleaning your fretboard, obviously don't scrub it. You want to be careful, since they really are just stickers. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching. I'm going to peel these off after a little bit of time, and I'm going to look into seeing if Tom did use the skulls, or the punkers up on the top frets there, and if that's the case, in the next video I'll put the rest of them on, and I will work on doing the water slide decal, which I know a lot of people had questions on, so I'll do that in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.